Dr. Zelvos had studied humanity for 3 years from behind the observation screens of the Neutral Research Station. The ethereal scientist, a being of pure consciousness inhabiting a synthetic body, had compiled exhaustive data on the species. Humans were biologically weak. Their lifespans were laughably short. Their reproductive cycles were inefficient. Their emotional volatility made them unreliable and dangerous. All of this was documented, analyzed, and filed away. Then humanity entered the deep dark. The deep dark was the void between galaxies, a region so hostile, so utterly devoid of resources, that no species had ever ventured there and returned. The gravity anomalies alone could tear a ship apart. The radiation would strip the shielding from most vessels in hours. The isolation was absolute. When humanity announced they were sending a colony ship into the deep dark, every alien species assumed it was a suicide mission. They were almost right. The Resilience, a human colony vessel carrying 15,000 people, launched toward the impossible. Zelvos watched from the station as the ship disappeared into the darkness, and filed it under extinct species, notable failure. 7 years later, a distress signal crackled through the void. But it wasn't a distress call. It was a greeting. The Resilience emerged from the deep dark battered, scarred, and triumphant. Its hull was patched with materials no species recognized. Its engines hummed with technology that shouldn't have been possible. And most astonishing of all, the population had grown. Humans had not merely survived the deep dark. They had thrived. The Galactic Council demanded answers. They sent envoys, scientists, and diplomats. All of them wanted to know, how. Captain Sarah Chen stood before the assembled aliens in the council chamber, her uniform bearing the scars of 7 years in hell. Her face was weathered, her eyes held the weight of impossible choices, and her voice carried the authority of someone who had stared death in the face and refused to blink. "We did what humans do," she began simply. "We survived." Zelvos stepped forward, unable to contain scientific curiosity. "Your ship's systems should have failed within the first year. Your crew should have experienced psychological breakdown. Your population should have starved. The radiation alone would have killed us in 3 months," Sarah interrupted. "Yes. We knew that before we left. So we adapted." She gestured to the holographic displays showing the Resilience's transformation. Every system on that ship was redundant, then redundant again. When something broke, we didn't order a replacement from a supply line that didn't exist. We learned to fix it ourselves, or we invented something better. Our engineers became masters of improvisation. Our doctors developed new medical protocols. Our farmers learned to cultivate life in conditions that should have been sterile. A Coltheran spatial engineer leaned forward. "The radiation shielding. It's not in any database we have access to." "Because we invented it," Sarah said. "We took materials from asteroids we passed. We studied the radiation patterns. We built something new. When something doesn't exist, humans don't wait for someone to invent it. We do it ourselves." She paused, her eyes scanning the chamber. "But that's not the real truth you want to know. You want to understand how we endured 7 years of absolute isolation, where any psychological break could have doomed everyone. Where one person's despair could have cascaded into collective failure." Zelvos fell silent. That was indeed the question that troubled all of them. "We told stories," Sarah said quietly. "Every night, the crew would gather. We'd share memories of Earth, of our families, of food and music and laughter. We created art from nothing. We sang songs. We held each other through the darkness, literally and metaphorically. We formed bonds so deep that losing one person felt like losing ourselves." She gestured to the displays showing birth records, family trees, the human population that had not just survived but expanded. "You all look at us as weak because we're emotional. You see our bonds as inefficient sentimentality. But those bonds? They're not a weakness. They're our superpower. When we're fighting for each other, we're capable of anything. When we're protecting people we love, we don't calculate odds. We just do what's necessary. A Verith crystalline being spoke, its voice resonating through multiple dimensions. You're saying emotions made you stronger in the void? I'm saying emotions made us human, Sarah replied. And humans don't surrender to the impossible. We transform it into opportunity. Zelvos processed this information, running it through every analytical framework. The conclusion was inescapable: humanity's weakness, their emotional dependence, their unpredictable loyalty, their refusal to abandon the vulnerable, was paradoxically their greatest strength. In the void where rationality should reign supreme, it was love that had kept them alive. As Sarah left the chamber, Zelvos finally understood something that no database could teach: the most dangerous species in the galaxy wasn't the one with the most advanced weapons or the longest lifespan. It was the species that would die for each other. It was the species that refused to leave anyone behind. It was humanity. And they were just getting started. Kindly like and subscribe channel. Thank you.